6 most incredible yet abandoned trains in the world. Perth Region Railway Station. If you are a history buff and into trains at the same time, this is the place you should visit to take a trip back in time. These locomotives that sit on rusty rails with shrubbery growing all around them are really hard to miss. Amongst dozens of the locomotives located in this area, the oldest is dated back to 1936 and the youngest to 1956. The area where these trains are located once served as a backup railway base during the Soviet era, and it existed in case a nuclear conflict were to take place. Over 140 trains were lined up during that time. But when steam was replaced by power as an energy source for trains, the use of these beautiful trains became obsolete. Many trains were purchased by China and others were fixed and restored in museums, leaving only a dozen behind. The Council City and Solomon River Railroad. This train was dubbed as the last train to nowhere, as this place hosts the remains of just a few old rusty steam locomotives. Around 1900s there were grand plans introduced to build a railroad by the name Council City and Solomon River Railroad in an effort to link major mining centers together. This plan was introduced during the gold rush. But as the hype of the gold rush faded, the levels of debt grew, and post that construction went on for 5 years, the railroad was only 35 miles long. The failure of this plan led to the abandonment in the year 1907. Even though it was never finished, the railroad is still useful as many train lovers come to view this site, which also has viewing platforms. Giorgia Train Bridge. This pretty awesome train crossing a river is located in Giorgia on Route 11, which is 14 kilometers from Katowice to Halkaliki. The river below the train crossing is very well known for its strong currents, and this abandoned train serves as the best crossing path if you do not want to fall into the river. The train serves as a popular attraction, and many are seen braving the river currents just to get a photo of this train. Aldwych Station. The movie V for Vendetta was shot at this train station. This station was used mainly by shuttle trains, but it was always known to have very few passengers. This train operated only on peak hours during weekdays since 1962 and was shut down in 1994. This is an old and abandoned tube train station located in London, which now serves as a film location on many occasions. It also served as a shelter for art preservation during the World War and also has been the subject of many expansion proposals in the past. Now, this place is open to tourists, but you have to pay money to visit this place. Eagle Lake Trains. This was a forest railway train which was located in Maine. Their main purpose was to transfer pulpwood through drainage basins in the Northwoods located in Maine. The journey of this locomotive went on without a hitch. It was abruptly stopped somewhere around 1930s. At that time, it was impossible to relocate these locomotives, so instead they were moved to a shed and have remained there ever since. These abandoned railways provide for an amazing background picture. It is not really easy to get to them, as the journey towards these trains goes through the woods and it can only be made barefoot, and if it's snowing you can get there by a snowmobile. The France-UK abandoned train. This abandoned modern Eurostar train still has all its 13 carriages intact, including 2 restaurant carriages. The tables still have dusty old magazines and the driver controls were still intact. This modern train is now covered in graffiti and has broken windows and even damaged front panels. This train was in service between 1994 and 2014, and it is almost as if it came back to its shed one day and never went back to work ever again. This train became outdated as E320 trains were introduced, and instead of being sent to a scrapyard, the train was left where it was. The company arranged for the train to be recycled in 2018.